Welcome back to Bleach Anime Review, episode number 42. We are here reviewing the 32nd episode of Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, which is also the 398th episode of the series, The Holy Newborn. And I made a slight update, basically, for the info page this one. This episode covered page 10 of chapter 613, pages 13 to 17 of chapter 617. The entirety of chapters 625 to 628. Yes, 4 full chapters. And the first 2 pages of chapter 629. So, technically, in a way, the arc officially ended with chapter 684. Those are curious. How is the manga 686 chapters? Well, that's because the last 2 chapters was a 2-part epilogue. Most epilogues for series tend to be 1 chapter. This is one of those rare ones where it's actually 2 chapters. So, if you're curious, how many are left? If you're really curious, how many chapters are left to be adapted for this entire arc? Mostly put, I think they have about, at this point, there is about 56 chapters left to be adapted. Yep, 56. Now, as for how far we're into this, we're only about 6 episodes into Core 3. Yep, so we have a couple different scenes that lead into something else. So, in the case of what's going on with Urabaha, mostly put him and his group basically just witness his new look. He basically reformats the Royal Palace, and that's his only contribution to the whole episode, which we see what the thing looks like. They call it Bonderbeat. So, meanwhile, though, in the case of Ichigo, his last episode left off with appearance by Grimgel. And it seems like, oh, they're about to fight. And then Nell pops up. First time we've seen her since part 1. And we get 2 other returns, which I knew this would happen due to the fact I read the chapters in the manga, believe it or not, 7 years ago, and I remember this scene really well. So, they're like, Nell's like very happy. Mentioned, oh yeah, she's got a brace to go back to child form and adult form. She gets taken adult form. And of course, RKB is a bit jealous because Nell basically is, well, putting her chest in Ichigo's face. Ichigo's a bit embarrassed by it. And then inside the girl have basically some association with Wakamundo. Get this. We hear an intercom announcement. And we have this black box. This giant black box. And the door opens. And it's Ryokawa. First time she's been seen since the Fullbringer arc, which was the previous arc of the anime. So, if you think about it, this episode is her first appearance in animation in, get this, when this aired when the arc aired in Japan, that was back in 2012. This is her first appearance probably on screen in 12 years. In terms of US audiences, this is the first time in 10 years people have seen her. And of course, Yuko's too, playing as PSP like usual. They don't say it's a PSP, but it's a PSP. And of course, Mia's box, of course. They do explain the stuff. Now, they do add a little dialogue in with the Valley of Screams. Which, of course, that's actually anime original. Which, that's kind of implying that the very first movie, Memories of a Nobody, that one is implied to be canon. Now, as for when in the world this movie takes place in the series, it is completely questionable. I'm guessing it's before a lot of the stuff, a lot of movies, I'd say, it's probably before, I would say it's either during the Iran car stuff, or maybe at some point off screen before Iran car shows up, because if in terms of the canoncy, when Rukia first shows up inside the Iran car, when she runs into Ichigo, these two have not seen each other since the end of Soul Society arc. So my guess is that the movies are probably a lot of it tends to be like off-screen adventures, basically during the whole Roncar saga. Maybe when they're not dealing with whatever stuff goes on with Aizen. And of course, they mention the whole thing with the whole Lord of Living, Wikamundo. And of course, Rukawa's got a brand new outfit here. Yes, those are familiar with her outfit that she wore in the final season of the show, which, by the way, some people point to the ratings of that season what killed the anime. Also, there's a bit of confusion. Yes, I have heard various different reasons why the original series ended. Like, Watch Mojo claimed because of all the filler. And a lot of people pointed out, no, that was not the reason why. Yes, half the show is full of filler, but that's not the reason why the show ended. The filler was actually quite funny and interesting. The most common reason I've heard was because of low ratings. That was the reason I heard. That the reason why, and also people were just confused about the Fullbringer arc. Yes. So, yes, people like Rukawa because she's a fan favorite, and that's probably the reason why they brought her back. As for why Jackie herself doesn't come back, she's the one with Dirty Boots ability from that particular arc. Yeah, she's not going to return here at this subject. She does survive the arc. And Fly Red Jack joins Yuko's company. I think like an executive. Yeah, basically anyone who was part of that club that the leader of the Fullbringers basically who survived the arc, they all basically join his company. Rukawa gets a brand new outfit, which is, well, gets like cute stuff. They explained the box actually was her doing a mixture of her ability and Yukio's, and of course in the case of Ichigo, basically is complete. He does not know anything about this stuff. He's like, what the heck is going on here? And really, everybody knew about it except for Ichigo and Gojo. These two are the only ones who did not know anything about what the heck is going on. I mean, Grandchild was trying to understand. Ichigo should have been told ahead of time, but he was busy. Probably your training. Oh yeah, and also they set up the fact there's this nail that Yorichi planted in that particular area they were in, and the other one's in the Royal Palace. And she put it right behind their remains of the Soul King as a way to get back up there. And then when they finally arrive, Yuko basically decides not to help out because, and kind of in a way, Ichigo says the same thing. That's why I think he kind of said it. Rukawa basically, he says that she should stay behind too, because the fact her powers are not good for combat, which, yeah, that's definitely true. I can definitely buy that. And also, he does mention with the Valley of Screams is that he's been to the Valley of Screams. There's nothing cute there at all. Which, that's a nod to the very first Bleach movie ever released. My Hero Crimson loves the very first movie. He absolutely loves it. It's his favorite of the four movies. It's not one of my personal favorites per se of the four movies. The ones I like the last one that was really good. And I like the Toshiro movie. Those two movies are really good. So they arrive at what they think is the Royal Palace, but in actuality it's Verva basically using the skyline that the Quincy's introduced. Meanwhile, on the ground, thinking that this special pressure is not enough, and of course the other Vizards coming with their outfits they used to wear, and of course they had their special pressure, and Mezcal, the current captain of Squad 12, he basically unleashed his Squad Amplifier, spiritual amplifier, and of course you open the gap, and they get there, and Byakuya points out basically when, of course, well, Yorichi's brother basically, like, he's like, oh, I detect my sister's spiritual pressure, so he goes over where she is, and he nearly falls off the platform. And Byakuya points out, though, whoever made this place the way it is apparently erased all the ratio in the area. I'm like, that's interesting. I'm not surprised the fact that he figured out, given the fact he has experience, in fact he's a captain. Also, they did make a slight animation change here. Sorry for in the manga, when she arrived at this place, she was still wearing her bandages. But for some reason in the anime they had them removed. My guess is that maybe what was a request by Taita Kubo, because I'm sure even he realized Renji's probably would have healed by now for her to remove those, because now basically she's there for fan service because she's supposed to be a very lovely lady. Yeah, I had pointed this out though because basically if I didn't, someone would say, "Hey, why don't you point out the fact that Soy Fun doesn't have bandages?" Well, I was gonna mention anyways. So. And by the way, the Quincy's, who basically, I with them, they're there too. And, of course, also the current captain. They do mention that the captain of Squad 13, that his spirit pressure, his reishi is actually pretty powerful. Aizen in this episode was nothing. He's there for a quick cameo. He doesn't do anything. He just looks around. Soshi, yeah, he's the current captain. Yeah, he's like so far he's made some bit controversial moves, maybe not very popular, but here's the thing. He has to make the decisions because he has to. Like freeing Sasuke is a decision basically that got him a lot of criticism. I would not say he is a terrible captain commander. He is just making decisions that he believes are necessary for the survival of the Serite and basically for the whole world. Of course, basically, he mentions that he could take each of the spiritual pressures so he knows the fact they're nearby. They also mention they can't get foothold, that's where the whole race stuff comes in. And what they see now, of course, where Ichigo's group is near what was the Royal Palace, but then Shichi's group sees the actual fortress, and it's clearly based upon a European-style castle. Presumably based upon a German castle. Because a lot of the Quincy stuff is based upon the German language. And a lot of them speak a little bit with a German accent. That's basically how it is here. Wikamundo, a lot of this stuff is spoken with a Spanish accent. Because a lot of it is all Spanish based. What you gotta appreciate the fact you have a series where it has some real life stuff in it, mostly put the language stuff. Of course, you don't have anything French or English. Yes, the series is spoken in English, but the characters speak it with an accent. That's basically how it is here. But good episode. I love it. Plus, I love the Valley of Screams Easter egg. Oh, yeah, by the way, Yurabaha, basically, I think one of the questions, basically, the whole thing of, like, you get used to it. Okay, so technically it is canon. Yeah, so the movie kind of started this first. Memories of a Nobody. Which you gotta praise basically the fact that the whole thing, the Valley of Screams, I'm sure that probably Studio Para themselves probably knew about this Easter egg, and well, they made an allusion to it via a ribbon, which is a nod to Cena, who's the girl from the movie. Which, excellent job on Para for doing that. Now, of course, I know Para has received a lot of criticism for how they've handled not the animation or the voice acting. That's not the issue. People have no issue with that. It's the adaptation process. The criticism that I've been hearing is they're adapting stuff a little too much for these episodes. Some are happening 5 or 6 chapters an episode. Now, in the case of this one, I'd say they're really good. Yes, they do alter stuff in the manga. I'd say in the case of this episode, they did alter a little bit of stuff, not much. I would say so far, the most egregious thing they basically edited out so far is a couple different things. One was the scene where they show off Ruka's Rin. That's one that I'm sure Parrot got a lot of criticism for cutting that out. That was probably also due to Disney. Another was a scene where Yorichi puts her hand between Orihime's breasts. Yes, that was an outrageous scene that was cut. But those are minor compared to a lot of the other stuff happening here. Oh, by the way, in the episode, Yorichi mentions to Ichigo, oh, she has a brother. He's like, why don't you tell me I have a brother? And her response, same as the response she has in the manga. Who do you think you are, my fiance? Yeah, the whole thing with Yorichi and Ichigo is that she has constantly flirted with him a lot of the series. But not to the point, basically, where she wanted to sleep with him. Oh, no. Even she realizes, though, he's way too young for her. Way too young. Yeah, so I had a response for a question I asked basically about StarCast. Like, what number is this one that's coming up for this one? 7. Okay. Fine. They had a gift basically of Courtney Cox and Friends for that. Anyways, but great episode overall. And can't wait for the next episode, which will air Saturday. Now, hopefully they'll wait till Tuesday to do it again. I hope not. Okay, that's pretty much it particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do the dislike button. Next up, we have as a comic corner, and it's on to the 7 Deadly Sins for Night's Apocalypse. Now, let's think, what about Jasmine? Oh, don't worry, I'm going to do that right after I do 7 Deadly Sins. Alright, next video. Bye.